In this video, we will discuss how to insert doors and windows, of course, using the different types of walls in Revit. I mean the basic wall and curtain walls. And we will go to 0GF as our work. And one of the things that I would like you to know in this session, that we can hide anything that we may think it will obstruct us from doing our job as we want. So we have grid lines and we have reference planes. So what I can do, I can select one of each and right click and say hide in a view category. That means anything. If I say element or elements, that means whatever I selected. But when I say category, that means everything related to these two elements that I selected. That will give me more space to do my job. Great, let's go to door over here. And as usual, there is something called tag on placement. I like always to turn it off for the inserting of doors, because I will have a separate video discussing tagging in Revit. But if this was on in your machine, please turn it off, which is tag on placement. Make sure it's turned off. I will see that only one family is loaded into my project, and that's according to the template, which called a single flush. And this is a good one. I want to do some doors over here for the partitions and for the toilets, but none of the sizes that available will suits me. I'd like to have smaller size than this, which is 762 millimeter by 2032 millimeter. So I'm gonna select this, but I'm gonna say edit type. I did that 100 times before. Duplicate, and I'll rename it by 700, and let's go here, and that's 2000, and I will remove the 2, and I'll say okay. Doing that alone is not sufficient, so I'm gonna go to the height and say it's 2000. I'm gonna go to the width and say it's 700. I'm gonna say okay. So, and you can see now you cannot insert the door except on walls, so you have to hover over a wall. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come over here and insert the first door, and I want to make sure that the clearance distance between the door and the wall is 100 millimeter. So I will click, so I can move it in and out, by the way, and I can flip it by space bar. So this is a good one. I'm gonna click, gonna keep it like that. And let me show you something. If you click on that door, you can see now a temporary dimension, which was 100, with the rest of the dimension showing the distance between the end of the wall and the end of the door and the wall. But you can see now that's beneath the 100, there is a shape over here which calls make this temporary dimension permanent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this and make it as a dimension. Why am I doing that? I want to create what I call a global parameter, and you can see in a minute what I mean by that. So I'm gonna click and say clear. I'm gonna say okay. So now this is not an ordinary dimension. This is a parameter called clear. When you click on it, you can see the label over here saying it's clear. And how that would gonna help us is as follows. Go to door, you can see the latest family used will be repeated, and I'm gonna put my wall over here in a different places and not necessarily the distances that I want. And let me put it this way. and let me, yeah, okay. Now, if you click over here, you can turn that to dimension. Click over here, you can turn that into dimension. Click over here, you can turn that into dimension, and so on. I want to turn all of that to dimensions. And then what I can do, I can select them all. Then go over here to label and say clear, and things will be set as I wish. This is a very good way to help yourself insert the doors all with the same distances or clear distances. Now, what if I want to get rid of this because it's already done? I can simply delete it. But once I delete it, you can see that Revit will show me a warning. And please read this warning. It says a dimension labeled by a parameter is being deleted, but the elements will still be constrained. Push unconstrained, which is this button, to remove the constraint, or OK, which is this button, to leave elements constrained. So I'm going to say OK. So they are still constrained. One of the good ways to see at the other files, if you opened a file that you didn't do it, others did it, and you would like to see if they used any parameters or any constraints whatsoever. So what you can do, click over here on the reveal constraint, and you can see that these are the constraints used. You click this off, and it's not shown for you, but it's constrained. Let me show you something that you can make sure it's constrained. I will go to modify, I'll select one of the walls, I'll go to modify, I'll select move, and I'll try to move the door. It didn't move. But why? Because it is constrained. A very important issue. Now, if you click on it, you can see that, and you can click on that. No, I'm not so sure about that. Let's remove that. So undo that. Again, let me unconstrain it. I show the constraint, and once you click on the dimension, you can say none. That's how to remove the constraint, and then you can constrain it back. Now, if you move it, it will accept moving. Okay, so this is one of the things that, yeah, it's now constraint. Back again, constraint. Great. Now let's do some windows. Architecture, go to window. We're going to use the fixed, which is the one that we want to use. There is a casement double and a casement hung, but I would like to show you something that you can use always, the load family. And you can go make sure that you are in US metric. You can go to windows. You can see all of the windows available for your work. Window casement double. I can make this wider. Window casement double, that's the one. This is the shape of the one. You see, say open, it's already there. You can select now the dimension or the sizes that you wish. I will select the first 5, for instance, and I'll say OK. Now it's because they are already preloaded into your project that would make things better. So I'll say OK. And now I can select the size that I wish. Let's go to 850 by 1200. And as I'm closing, you can see that Revit is helping me get the dimension at the middle of the clear distance of the room. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm gonna say undo to that and turn off. Yes. Again, it will show me the exact mid insertion point. Yes, perfect. Yes. And what I want to add a fixed ones for the toilets. So I'm gonna pick 610 by 610, and I have two things to create over here. One called the sill height, which is from the bottom of the level up until you reach to the bottom of the window, or what we call a head height, which is the bottom of the window, the bottom of the level, or the level to the top of the window. And I'll change this to 2100, and I will try to input it over here. I will click at the middle and click at the middle. And one of the freaky things, or the odd things, is that since the windows are not shown. Why the windows are not shown? The windows are not shown because we have what we call a view range. The view range got what we call a cut plane. And let's go and visit this. Make sure nothing is selected. You are in the floor plan, and you will go to something called extents. Under extents, there is something called view range. Click on the view range and go to show, so it can show you what do you mean that the 2 over here is the primary range cut plane, and it is set to 1200. And since the head height over here is 2010, so the cut plane will not go through it, so it's not shown. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the offset value of the cut plane and say it's 1600, and I'll say okay, and you can see right now that these 2 windows of the toilets are shown. Great. Now, what I want to do, I want to select all windows over here. Hold the control and select all doors over here. If for any reason something is selected, like walls, I want to turn it off. I'll say okay. So only doors and windows is selected over here. And now I need to do something before. Okay, before doing that, I need to go to the light bulb over here, which say reveal hidden elements. I'll say click. Select one of the reference plane, the one at the middle, which is at the center of the east wall. And I'll say right click, unhide, and select category. Then I'll turn it off again. And now I'm ready to again do it. Select all of the windows. Hold the control, select all of the doors, and go to filter. Make sure walls is not selected. Say okay. And you have right now to mirror by pick axis. I'll click this one, and things are inserted in the right place. Great. We will do the next thing using the 3D view. It's easier for everybody. And what we want to do is we want to insert a door here and a door here, as if it's the main entrance door for the building, and we want to insert windows over here, which will be as an awning window. So let me do it, but this is not a basic wall. It's not like these walls. So there are certain steps that we have to make sure that we understand and follow. We'll go to insert at the top. We'll go to load family. And we'll go to doors. And there is what we call M underscore curtain wall double glass, M underscore curtain wall double storefront. I'm gonna select this one because it has the door handles and everything. This one doesn't. And so I'm gonna use this. This is better because even it has an aluminum and glass for it. And I'll say open. And here you go. I load it into my project. Okay. Now the next step will be I will select, I will tap, I will hover over here and use the tab key, click. Then I will hover over here, use the tab key, hold the control and click. Please don't forget to hold the control. So to select it. If you click on the type selector and go all the way, sorry, now it's green. And then you go over here, you can see now M underscore door, curtain wall double storefront is listed. And once you do that, now doors is inserted in your work. Of course, you cannot have doors with mullions over here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and click. Once you see a mullion is selected, just click the X over here and the door will take the place. I'm gonna go over here, tap, select the mullion and delete it. And now I have the doors as I wish. Great. Now how can I insert windows? I'm gonna go to insert again, load family, and go to windows and then search for M underscore curtain wall awning.rfa. And I'll say open. I want to make sure that you look at it from here, that it's very clear that this one is a piece of glass. It's not a window. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click, hover over here, tap up until I select it. And then I will right click and say select panel. That didn't work. Select panel and a host. No, I'll select them all. Let me make sure that this is the one that I want. So I will select it. I'll right click, select panels, along vertical grid, along horizontal grid panels, along vertical grid. And there you go, we have 4 selected. And you can see they are pinned, so I need to unpin them first. Then I can, from the type selector, come over here and select the M underscore curtain wall awning. And there you go, I added the windows as I wish. Great. One more thing that we need to do here is I need to select all doors. Okay, I selected this because it's important, it's separating. Then I'll hold the control and select all of these. And now I go to filter and make sure that references is not there. It's doors, walls, and windows. That's what I need. And I go making sure that I have the modify multi-select. Go to Clipboard. There are 3 buttons over here. One is called copy to clipboard. I'll click it. Then I'll say based aligned select to selected levels. And I'll select the first floor and I'll say okay. If you go to the 3D, you can see now that all of the partitions, doors and windows is selected. Very important. Let me do that again, but this time we'll do it with in the south part. I will select all of the doors along with this wall, all the control, all the windows. Make sure nothing is selected except doors, walls, and windows. Say OK. And then we'll go to copy, to clipboard, paste, align selected, select the first floor, say OK. Oh, I made a mistake. Okay. It's good to make a mistake. This wall was selected all, so that was one of the mistakes, that it's overlapping. So I'm gonna go to 3D and make sure nothing is, yes. That's right. So again, we'll do it. Okay, we'll make sure that only the windows is selected. And here we need the walls and this wall. Oh, I don't need this wall, so I'll hold the shift and remove it. And once I'm so sure about my selection, I'll go to copy to clipboard, paste, align to selected level, go to the first floor, say OK, everything is in order, go to 3D. That's what I want. That's what I want. Everything is in order and things are in the first floor, and in the ground floor is what I want. Great. Go to the PDF file, locate tutorial 4. Go to the RVT file, locate tutorial 4 file, and repeat what I did in this video. Thank you very much.